Welcome to TechNOW. I'm your host, John Reid, CEO of CATA Alliance, and we're very pleased to have John Platz with us, CEO of IRSatellite, a very important subject to all of us. How do we keep and attract talent? It's the talent that's really going to drive our businesses forward. John, you have many years of experience in the area. Can you give me some guidance? What should I look at in order to really attract and keep the best people?
Yeah, thanks very much for that, John, and thanks for this interview. Appreciate it. When I talk with my client organizations, and certainly when I've been a vice president of human resources as well, one of the things that I've learned is that people themselves, employees, are always interested to understand how they relate to that organization. And I've chosen to come up with this term umbrella of fairness to cover off everything related to employee relations. So it really has as much to do with how do you construct that umbrella of fairness, and why would you do it? Well, the fact of the matter is an employee is interested in how they relate to their peers. An employee is interested in relating to their boss, their supervisor, and employees are interested in relating to the organization, and that's when we get into things such as culture. All of these things combined, and then when you look at legal compliance issues, if we do it right, we have actually created that umbrella of fairness.
So again, that is a holistic view. Now, does that change? We have millennials, we have Y generation, we have our generation, and certainly in a large company, you have all those cultures together. Does that really affect your strategies in terms of attracting and keeping people?
Well, actually it should, but what makes that more interesting, of course, is our legal obligations. As you know, we can't discriminate based on age, as an example. So that means that should we basically, because we have a millennial as well as somebody who is 65 years of age working in the organization, should we expect that on Friday night that the 65-year-old should be working while the millennial's out partying? I think one has to really think about that one. At the end of the day, it's very, very difficult to construct strategies that are going to distinguish millennials from those who perhaps have been around a little bit longer.
So who creates the culture? Is it the CEO? Is it the senior management team? How is it? What's the magic formula in really creating that holistic umbrella culture that you need? Do you have some thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. One of the things I've learned is that the most important person to create culture, I would say, is going to be the CEO, the owner, the president, the person in charge, because that person in charge is going to have their own perspective as to how employees should be engaged, what you should be doing for them. If you've got an owner, for instance, who is not keenly interested in thinking of people as assets, but instead as a means of production, they're probably going to squeeze them on dollars. So we're going to have some real serious compensation issues. They'll probably have high turnover, but they've already built that into their structure. So that becomes, one of the considerations. So I just read in the paper this morning, in fact, of one particular high-tech company that says the minimum pay they will have in their high-tech company will be $70,000 a year to any employee. That's a cultural statement because he's actually taking it out of his own pocket. But that is a decision that he's made. I can assure you there's a lot of other CEOs who would choose not to do that.
One other area that I read more and more about is that employees, yes, the mission of the company, to create a product or service, but also they like a form of community engagement where they're actually giving back to the community. Is that something that has increased in importance over the years?
I think it probably has as much to do with the particular industry that you're in as well. I think certainly in the high-tech business, I think there's a greater propensity. In fact, I think in part because of a younger workforce that might be more inclined to be activists, for the lack of a better expression. I can tell you I have a lot of hospitality clients. Without a doubt, they're very, very active in terms of community support, charity work, etc. And they bring in the entire workforce. And they provide them, of course, with time off, with pay, and other perks in order to make sure that they're obviously excited about it.
Well, John, our series, educational series, we really aim at money, market, and people. So I think you've done an excellent job in giving some of the the key considerations, particularly the CEO message. So CEO umbrella approach, and really pay attention to some of the key drivers that attract and keep talent. If we don't figure that out, it's pretty hard to create a successful innovation nation. So thanks for joining us, John Platz, CEO, IRSatellite. We appreciate your contribution.
Thanks very kindly, John. Have a good day.